Assalamu alaikum, this is Abdul Wakil Nazari, and I would like to welcome you all you e-learning of Rana University. Welcome to chapter number 2, lecture 2. As we discussed earlier in chapter number 1 regarding individual behavior. In individual behavior, we started with biographical characteristic. In biographical characteristic, I discussed about the age, and there is effects on performance, productivity, turnover, and moreover, I have discussed about gender, and also I have highlighted whether the gender having effect on a organization or individual performance or not. Moreover, I have discussed about race, ethnicity. I've I've told you that racism should not be allowed inside the organization on the perspective of discrimination on the basis of age, gender, color, height, but it should be on the basis of selection, on the basis of selection process, pay rise, incentive, reward, bonus, on the basis of performance. Racism should be allowed. It should be there. I discussed about that. And moreover, discussed about tenure, a person who having experience, whether that affect on organization performance or not. So, with the conclusion that it is, if you have experienceful person inside your organization, that will affect highly positive effect on a organization performance or individual performance. And even by having experienceful person, you can gain a qualified main power, or you can retain your main power. Now in this lecture today, we're going to discuss about one more individual behavior which differentiate, which make a difference one another. That is ability. Ability, that is, we can say, that is a, we simply say ability is a person having tendency to perform different tasks at one time. Ability, an individual capacity to perform the various tasks in a job. Individual having ability. Now, being a leader of an organization, being an owner of an organization, I must hire all those people who having the intellectual abilities and physical ability. Definitely, I'm going to follow that. They must have skills, because organizations are looking for manpower who have those who have the relevant potential to perform a job. For example, if you want to hire, if you want to, if you need, because you have another tactics what that you are analyzing yourself, what sort of manpower I needed. Like suppose you need a finance officer. So now when you need a finance officer, you are searching for a person who must have the skill of accountancy. The accounting related subjects. So you are looking for such kind of things and many more. Like for example, if you are looking for HR manager, so you are also, so as HR manager, you must have these skills. You know how to analyze, how to recruit the manpower, how to generate a pool of, and how to make a strategic plan. Being an HR manager, you must make a strategic plan for organization that how much manpower we need in the future or currently what we have. So some sort of skills you're looking for. Moreover, in a different post you're looking different skills. Like if because definitely you need you need a person who design the brochures or design or your who handle out your social media activities. So you are looking for a person who expert in these areas, who have the ability to skills, having skills in these areas. Now in ability we have two things: intellectual abilities and physical abilities. Intellectual abilities, which is related to the mentality. Being a successful employees, you must have intellectual ability. Every employee must have intellectual ability: thinking skills, reasoning skills, and problem solving skills. You must have this if you want to be succeeded. You must be intellectually sound minded. You must have the skills of to uh, you know to think on some problems. Whenever organization face a problem, so you must have a skill to think about that and bring the solution for that. Or a reasoning ability, you reason to logical, you give the logical reasons and put your ideas and pitch your ideas there, rather than keep yourself silent or a sideline. Problem solving skills, you must have the ability to solve a problem quickly. Now how these skills are generated? By experiences, by learning. But these abilities are coming by learning, by experience, by practical observations. Now when you're talking about intellectual abilities, intellectual abilities to do mental activities, thinking, reasoning, and problem solving, these are which is related to mentality. You must have. Being employee, look, you are working somewhere. Being an employer, I have some expectations. I have expectations that you come up with the ideas. I have expectations that you must bring a logical reasoning solution. I have expectation from my employees. Whenever I face a problem, they can come up with the quick solutions rather than investing their lots of time. Now, some are the dimensions of intellectual abilities that we have: number aptitude, verbal comprehension, perceptual speed, inductive reasoning, deductive reasoning, spatial visualization, memory. So it doesn't mean that all these dimension, all these ability, one person should have all these. No, if a person having any one of it, so definitely in the next slide I'll show you, if a person having number aptitude, what sort of job is suitable for that person. Verbal comprehension, what sort of job is suitable for that person. If you have these one of abilities, so you can go towards your track. Like if you look at in here, like if a person having number of aptitude, ability to speed and accurately arithmetic, so the suitable job for that person is accountant. Verbal comprehension, ability to understand what read and heard and relationship to the words to each other, plant manager. Perceptual speed, ability to identify, visualize the similarities and differences and quick and accurately. Fire investigator. Inductive reasoning, ability to logical sequence and a problem solve the and coming with a logical reason to solve the problem. Market researcher. Deductive reasoning, ability to use logic and assess the implication of an argument. Supervisor. Specialization with spatial visualization, having the ability to visualize something, like interior decorator, like inside your office where you should, well, you are, when you seeing, you're making your office, so you have to make visualize where I should put my office, where office, where I should put my desk, where I should put my sofa, or many more things. You visualizing the overall, that where I should, how to decorate my office. So first you're visualizing, then you're taking implementation, like for your room. So before getting married, when you the day, so you're first visualizing your room, that how I should decorate my room. So visualizing that the curtain should be there, the cupboard should be there, the mirror should be there, the bed should be there, and the bed. So now you are placing order, now you are putting them in the right place and according to your visualization. Physical abilities. Now physical abilities is the, now you must have to do the capacity to do the task, the demanding your stamina, dex, dexterity, strength, similar characteristic, like these are the things which you require. The most thing, your strength and stamina is required. Yeah, whatever you do, like if you are a worker, if you are employee of your consider, so different job and their strengths are required different. Like workers who are working inside this factory, the workers there, so their physical should be strong. Those employees who work in the office, their mentally should be strong, and physically although they're healthy, they must be healthy, but comparatively not that much, but only uh, a normal health is good. But if you're a teacher, you are physically fit, because for 3 hours, for 3 hours, for 6 hours, you're teaching, so you must be physically fit. Your trunk, your feet, your body should be moving accurately. Your balance should be accurate, although you can perform, so that you can perform well. Now look at dimensions. Strength factor, you have dynamic strength, trunk strength, static strength, explosive strength. Flexibility factors, extent flexibility, dynamic flexibility, other factors, body coordination, balance, and stamina. These are the things which is a person must have, like dynamic strength, ability to exert the muscular force, to exert the muscular force. Like if you're a worker, so you have the, you have to exert your muscular force to put something from one place and or at another place. So no, you must be physically strong. Trunk, taller. Many jobs, they require, their preference is for tall. Like their preference is what, tall employees. Yeah, for many jobs that did you go for that. Their preference is tall. Like if you are applying for army, you must be. They're looking for a tall. That height should be above. Height should be at least 6. Right. Static strength. To use all, you must have expert in only doing one activity. Explosive strength, ability to expend maximum energy, one series of explosive acts. Then he expend all. He must exert full of energy to do something better. Now next we have flexibility factors, that the extent, flexibility, ability to move the trunk. Like being a teacher, you have to move yourself here and there, and a dynamic flexibility, ability to make a repeated flexing movement, so that the movement should be there. Like I'm teaching, and plus I'm moving my hands and moving my feet, and so I must, delivering lecture during the class, so you must be move your all the body rather than sitting on the chair and delivering the lecture. No, teacher must active and staying on the feet and deliver the lecture rather than sitting on the chair. Other factors, body coordination, your coordination between your mentally, your hands, foot, your all that coordinated with your mind. They're coordinated. It shouldn't be what you said, what your hand said one thing, and you're moving somewhere else. No, it should be balanced. Wherever you're standing, there should be balance, because while you move yourself, you shouldn't be falling down. You have to balance. You have control on yourself. Stamina. Sometimes organizations demanding for longer hours, so you must have the stamina to exert and to do more things for longer and longer hours, for longer time. The stamina is very must compulsory, especially in teaching. Now next we have the individual behavior. Another, the last one we have, that learning. one thing I'll make it clear that learning any relative permanent change in a behavior occurs as a result of experience. From the day one of our life until now, we are learning. Our learning is not stopped. Now, if I take it from the age of 1 and 2, that you start learning, observing your family members and you learn from them, you learn language from them, you learn behavior, you learn how to eat, you learn how to talk, you learn how to walk. That you're growing, you learn how to make friends, you learn how to talk with the guests, and you learn how to you learn many more things in the age of 3, 4, 5. Now more, when you go to school, you learn from the teachers, you learn respect, you learn how to make a friendship with a classmate, how to be in a group. Now you're learning from that. The moment you move, go, and the moment you move ahead, and you learn many more things that you learn from your also from society. You learn from that. You learn from society. You are learning that how to interact with the society, how to talk with them, how to deal. Now you're learning from that. Now you learn a lot of things in your by your observation, by dealing with them. Now, directly, indirectly, you are learning that. Directly or indirectly, you are learning, right? But your learning will not stop. And all the time you are in the process of that, all the learning. Now, learning will not finish. Like after that, after you go to university, you start your learning. There are many more things, but when you go to in practical life, you go for a job, you crack the job, you go for a job in practical life. Now you're learning again start. You are learning again start there by your observation, directly or indirectly. You are observing your manager, observing your colleague, their behavior. Now you are, you want to be socialize yourself to learn that, because for making yourself socialize, you have to observe that and understand that. Then you will learn that. Your learning will not finish. Inside the organization, a lot of things will occur there. There is a different theories are using there. Like the managers are using classical theories, operant theories, and you're using by your own self a social theory too. Classical theory, how they use the classical theory, they conditioning all that. They make a conditioning like a 10 o'clock you will be provided milk, and 1 o'clock you provided lunch, and 4 o'clock you provided these things. So now they bound you on a condition. Now you're watching the time and many more things, and you acting on that just according to when you see 1 o'clock, you say, okay, this is time for lunch. Like we have made ourselves a condition. We condition our mind. We condition our mind that. Like for example, we see the timetable. Like set up for the timetable. We say, okay, 1 o'clock is a lunch time. Okay, early morning is a breakfast time. So we have made this routine for ourselves, because these things are happening in routine again and again. Repetition action can happen. Like for example, outside your house, you heard a jangle of Waltz company. You heard a jangle. You heard just a jangle. Then when you heard a jangle, you condition your mind, and now it's time for ice cream. Now that's a condition yourself, your classical condition, that you make your self limit to something. That's conditioning. Organizations are using operant conditioning. Operant, they give reward and punishment. Like when you perform very well, they reward you. Now you believe, okay, I performed well. They reward me. Let's do more things so that I get more reward. Now you learn that. You learn what? By performing well, they will reward me. So I should perform well so that they reward me. Now I should perform well so that they should reward me. For the sake of reward, you are working hard. You learn that. Now, if you did something wrong and they punish you, so what you learn from from that point, you learn that if I do something wrong, they will punish me. Now the punishment is there. Now you learn that I shouldn't do these things. Now, they use operant theory for the sake of punishment and reward, for the sake of, so that they give reward to do repeat an action. They give reward for the sake of to repeat the good action again and again, again and again. Now, why they punish you? The punishment for the sake of to avoid that things to happen again and again. They restrict you not to do this action again. That's why they are punishing you. That's why they cut your salary. That's why they restrict you from the office. Now the last theory, social learning theory. The social learning theory, we observe, we are learning that whether we involve by our own practically, or whether we are observing others, we are learning that directly or indirectly. Now let's move on. See that. Now learning, definition of learning. What is learning? A psychologist's definition is considered broader that professional view that it is what we did when we went to school. Learning occurs all the time. It will not end up. It will occur all the time. Learning is a permanent change behavior that occurs as a result of experience. Once you experience and you that comes to your life and that bring a change, a variation in your life, then it means that learning occurs. When we can say changes in behavior indicates that learning has take place. If there's a change in your behavior, so it shows that there a learning take place. If there is no change in behavior, so now it's been clear that there is no learning took place. Our definition has several components that deserve clarification. Number one component is that first, learning involves change, and a change may good or bad from the organization point of view. Learning, in the learning perspective, you learn whether it's good or bad, but you learn that in organization perspective. Whether, for example, if your leader is a good, you learn the good things. When your leader is a bad, you have a bad experience from that. Second, the change must become deep rooted. The change, whatever the change incorporated in you, in your behavior, that should be deep rooted. It shouldn't be immediate change, because immediate change will not be sustained for a longer time. And that immediate change will not represent even a learning. Third one, some from the experience is necessary for the learning. Experience may be acquired directly to observation, or practice may be acquired, or observation or practice, or may require indirectly. Now, third, learning acquire experience, that must be directly experience or through observation. You observe the people, you learn that, or you by yourself involved in that situation, you learn that. But you must learning. The third phase of learning is that you must involve, you must have the experience to whether to observe, directly observe, or practice, or may acquire indirectly through reading. Now the crucial test is still remaining. Look, the experience that you have done, does the experience result is relatively permanent change in behavior? If the answer is, whatever you experience again, whatever the experience that you gain, if the answer is yes, so in the behavior, if the change comes in behavior, you say yes, my experience, whatever I experience, that changed my behavior, so that we can say that yes, that changed, now learning occur. If you say no, then learning will not take place. Learning take place when you say yes. Now let's see the theories: classical conditioning theory, operant conditioning theory, and social learning theory. In classical condition theory, a research took place on a dog where a researcher want a researcher wanted that the meat which provide a dog and the dog which salivate when he see the meat, and a researcher want these two action to relate to bell ring. Researchers is desired that when I ring the bell, the dog should salivate. He wanted to make learn. A dog should learn that when a bell ring, you salivate for it to that you should make your mind that now it's time for meat. Now he did it by repeating of an action. At first he offered meat and the dog salivate. At first he offered meat and dog salivate. Now later on he rang the bell and give the meat to the dog. But at the beginning, dog didn't understand the ring. Later on, as the repetition of our actions goes on, and again, he just when a bell ring, the owner offer meat to the dog. Now he understood. Now it is a time. Oh, yeah. Now later on, after some time, when he rang the bell, the dog automatically salivate. He understood that it's time for meat. Now, what that classical conditions have took place? Our own schools, this school we are studying that. That's completely the dirt were there, like because what that's a government school. When our principals understood that supervisors are coming from outside and observing, then they are start cleaning and lots of things that doing this. At the time of like inside the office, you heard someone that the boss is coming. Now you make yourself ready and working hard and doing all the things and equally, and so for sake of to let your boss see you that oh my this employee is a very hard worker. Now this is a classical condition when when you heard something that is going to happen. Now at that time you're, but later on you are nothing doing, but only that time you occur these all the activities you are doing this all the activities. Operant conditioning, like a classical conditioning, as I discussed that classical conditions grew out of experiment. It's also experiment to reach the dogs to salivate in the response to ring to a bell, conducted in early 19s by Russian psychologist Leon Paulo. A simple surgical procedure allowed Paul to measure accurately amount of saliva secreted by a dog. When Paul presented the dog with a piece of meat, the dog exhibited noticeable increase in salivation. When Paul withheld the presentation of meat, merely ring a bell, the dog didn't salivate. At the beginning, it didn't salivate. The proceed to ring the meat and ring the bell, but he proceed continuously ringing the bell and giving the meat. After repeatedly hearing the bell before getting food, the dog began salivate as soon as the bell rang. Now, if no food was offered, in fact, the dog had learned the response. Still, he learned the response. If without any offering of food, but he already learned that ringing a bell is means time for meat. Operant conditioning. Operant conditioning is what? Operant conditioning is a method of learning that occurs through rewards and punishment for behavior. Through operant conditioning, an individual makes associate between particular behavior and consequences. Is definition of Skinner, as he did a research on a mouse trap. There he put a mouse in a box, electrical box, and he researched on that. According to this principle, behavior that is followed by pleasant consequences is likely to be repeated. Look, according to principle, behavior that is followed by pleasant consequences the outcome is what? The outcome is the outcome is the outcome is pleasant. Now they believe the outcome is pleasant. They reward it. Because the pleasant means reward. No, action is repeated. Happen. Action is repeated. Now when the consequences and the behavior followed by unpleasant consequences is less likely to repeat. Now, look here. Positive reinforcement strengthens a behavior by providing a consequences as a individual finding rewards. Positive consequences. You are employee in any organization. You're performing very well. They assess your performance. They assess you're outstanding. So they give you 10,000 rupees bonus. Now this positive reinforcement, the bonus will that bring your energy back again, and you work harder for the sake of that 10,000 which you again you should acquire this position, because action is repeated. Now you are doing accelerate your work, performing your more and more. Negative reinforcement. Negative reinforcement, the removal of unpleasant reinforced, can also strengthen behavior. This is known as negative reinforcement because it is removal the adverse stimulus which is rewarding to animal and person. For example, you are making absenteeisms. You are making absentees. You are making absentees more. They give you warn you that do not make that, but you are making that. But what happened that they cut your salary, they deduct your salary, they rusticate you for 1 week. Now this negative reinforcement, now from here you learn that okay, I shouldn't make any absentees. So although they will rusticate me and they will cut my salary. Cutting the salary was in the reward. But it is negative reward. Why? For the sake of to avoid this repetition or to avoid absenteeisms. Now that's operant conditioning. Now let's move on to the next one, that is social learning. Individual can also learn by observing what happens to other people and just by being told about something. Now, by observation we learn a lot of things. Whether we direct experience. For example, what we have learned comes from watching video models. Whatever we have learned right now is from our parents, our teachers, our peers, our friends, and pictures, television, performer, bosses, and so on. We have learned a lot of something from all these people. This view that we can learn through both observation and direct experience is called social learning. Observing others, that is indirectly, or by involving himself in there, that's also your learning there. End of chapter number 2, individual behavior. Let me give you a short overview that what we have discussed. At the beginning, we discussed biographical characteristic. In the year we discussed about age and its consequences, effects on a performance. We discussed about gender and its consequences on organization performance on individual or team or productivity. We talk about race and we discussed on relevant to we discussed about race and plus performance organization, and we discussed about tenure and also relate to organization performance and productivity, that experienced persons where we should have for longer hours or not. So what will be there is a positive consequences or negative. The results show there is a positive significant relationship between tenure and organization performance. Then we discussed about ability. In ability, we discussed intellectual ability, and we discussed about physical ability. I've shown you dimension and plus the jobs and physical ability. I've shown you what are the physical ability must you have being a good performer. Moreover, we discussed about learning. In learning, discussed we define learning, and moreover we discussed three theories: classical conditioning theory, operant theory, and the last one, social learning theory. And here our lecture is going to end. Thanks for your watching. Stay tuned.